Okay, so the two cases that I'm going to be comparing is the Africa case, which is what I was assigned to, and I also wanted to take a look at the Latin American Caribbean um, case study. So they have a lot of similarities in equity issues. Access is probably the hugest one. So, in Africa, we see gender inequalities. We see a little bit of race as well if you go historically back to slavery that affected blacks and, black Africans and white Africans. I think there's a comparison in there that talked about, the similarities of like how US dealt with it versus how Africa dealt with it. But another big thing with Africa that has to do with access that was mentioned is culture, because you have this. They discussed like how religion played like a huge part, and how so basically when it comes to culture, like whose culture is going to be most important, and that can be anywhere from religion or like socioeconomics, or in this case, like I feel like because gender inequalities are huge in Africa with not a lot of access for girls, I would relate that to culture because the way that women are seen in society and the how far in education they've been told that they're allowed to go to is probably what has affected it. Whereas in South America, their lack of access is due to their socioeconomic issues. The lowest poverty rates in Brazil and I want to say, I can't think of all of them right now, Paraguay and some other countries. Yeah, not the basically like so South America also deals with an inequity issue of completion rates, and the value of the degree, the completion, just the access in general, relates to socioeconomics, because it's kind of like the household, the educational background. If your parents didn't go, then maybe you're not expected to go any higher than high school, or if they feel like, okay, as soon as you graduate, you need to go work to make money for us, then that's going to affect it as well. And I just wanted to make sure I answered another one of the questions. Do you see higher education as having different equity issues? So I actually don't. Like, I definitely feel like I see the same equity issues with access. I know in a lot of cases, ones that I read about in my midterm, it was, gender inequalities, but also race was a huge one, and then as well as the economic piece of like, who basically when we talked about, human capital and social capital, like who has the access, who has the connections, the network, like, those that are already rich, and they're going to have more resources and access and things like that. So yeah, no, I think that we see the same types of issues. We have, low completion rates of high school. We have in certain countries we have like a lack of enrollment in primary, like elementary school, and for girls not being able to have access to that education. So yeah, thanks.